Alright, so Sly is standing outside of a hotel with a hostess, and there's a glass on the ground that's been knocked down. So Sly says, "I'll feed you in faith." And the little girl says, "You should pick that glass up." And then Sly says, "Look, miss, I've lived in this town for over 16 years, and there's not been one occasion where I've knocked down a glass and picked it up later." And so she says, "Oh, that's a great story." And then he says he's lying. And then Sly says, "Don't worry about it. Someone will come along and pick the glass up eventually." And so they kind of wait around for a while for someone to walk by. And then someone walks by, and then they come back and they say, "You should pick that up." And so Sly says, "Look, miss, if it makes you feel any better, I guess I can pick it up." And the little girl says, "Well, that's fine with me." And so Sly picks up the glass and he goes inside and he kind of leaves her there. And she says, "Whoa." And she goes inside. And so once Sly's inside the hotel, he passes his good friend Lord, and he says, "Oh, hey, Lord, what's new?" And the Lord says, "Oh, nothing. Just standing here." And so Sly says, "Oh, that's good news. I'm gonna drop this glass." And so he drops the glass, and he goes to his room and he sleeps. And then when Sly gets into his room, he finds out that there's a lot of knocked down glasses in his room. And he kind of freaks out. He's like, "Oh God!" And so, he's understandably scared, frightened by the presence of several thousand glasses. And he says, "All right, I need to get to the bottom of this and find out what happened." And so he grabs a magnifying glass from the pile and he goes outside of his room and he sees a footprint on the ground, which is really weird because he hasn't seen anyone else walk in that hallway in the short time he's been there. And so he gets closer to the footprint and he puts the magnifying glass up to it and he sees carpet strands really close up. And he's like, "Oh, that's neat." And so he goes back outside to the lobby where his friend Lord is, and he says, "Hey, have you seen this carpet before?" And the Lord says, "No, I haven't. Where is it?" And he says, "It's in the hallway." And the Lord says, "Oh, I've seen that one." And so Sly, he goes outside to talk to the hostess, but she's gone. And so he goes inside, and there she is, and he talks to her, and he asks, and she says, "A pair of stocks, you rogue. There are glasses everywhere, and I think they're yours." And he says, "They're not mine, but I've been researching their appearance too." And she says, "Oh, we should team up." And he says, "No." And so they survey the area together, and the hostess finds this little watch on the ground, and she says, "I'll keep my eye on this." And so she picks it up and she puts it in her dress. And then Sly, while he's researching, he finds this book of names of people that have ever lived in the city and caused trouble. So he looks through it and he reads every name inside, and then he finds one that looks suspicious. It says Lord, and it says record not found. So Sly, he's kind of curious now that maybe the Lord has something to do with all this. And the Lord walks by and he says, "What are you doing?" And Sly says, just researching some books." And the Lord says, "Don't read the one with names, please." And Sly says, "Why?" And then the Lord says, I don't know. And so, now Sly's getting really suspicious that something's up with the Lord. And meanwhile, the hostess, she finds another glass, and it's got the Lord's name on it. And so she's like, "Oh, well, maybe I should take this to the Sly." And so she picks it up and puts it in her pocket, and she runs, and she sees Sly, and she's like, "Oh, Sly, I found another clue." And he says, "Me too, but I haven't got any evidence." And then she says, "Well, I've got evidence right here." And then she shows him the glass that says Lord on it, but Lord's been erased. And so Sly says, "Another glass." And she says, "No, it's got a name on it." And then she looks at it and she's like, "Oh no, it's been erased." And then Sly says, "Oh no, that would have been a good clue." And so the hostess says, "Yeah,